filmmaker? What did you want to do with this journey?
I started out wanting to be a drug addict. When I started this journey, it was really just another drug. It was another form of escape. It was like an opportunity to, it was like a great form of escape in comparison to what I was doing, but it was still just this unregulated, uncontrollable boy who was just trying to fit into the world and trying to find himself. My mum's an artist, and I've always had this like connection to I'm a creative. I love creating things. I've always loved drawing and painting, and public speaking was the only thing that I could ever do, but I could never talk about a subject. It just had to be off the cuff and random. So the filming aspect was really just a way of me recording and documenting my own story. Instagram was I think it had been around for 3 years at that point in time, so I was sharing photos on it of my journey, and there was no intention of making a film until I got about halfway through that first trip. I got a GoPro, and so I started shooting things on that, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was 19 years old, and I was just shooting everything I possibly could. And so I ended up with these 17-minute videos of me walking down the beach thinking, I'm going to turn this into a film. But as time went on, I got new gear, and the technology became more accessible, and being able to keep things charged in the outdoors was easier and easier because batteries got smaller and smaller, and solar panels became a thing. And then in Stewart Island I had that little orange device that had fire coming out of it. That was a cooker, but also like a little generator, so I put fuel in and it gave me energy and heat out. It's been a long journey, and I guess I can say I'm a filmmaker now.
There's cinematography, absolutely. I'm going to throw straight to the audience because I know there's plenty of people here that know you and might have some questions, and others that are just meeting you for the first time as well. Have we got any questions right now? There's always never a hand that goes up for my first questions. No? Well then, there's always the question I love asking. I love your answer too as well. You're in that desert, and that storm that comes, to me, that's just fearful. But it was your perfect moment. The storm was you. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, I guess in my life, the normal day-to-day goings on or the happenings they're boring. I do them because I have to. I have to go and make some food, and I have to clean up the dishes, and I have to do all those things. But they're boring, and it pains me to do a lot of them. But as soon as the environment is exciting and alive and energetic, I become myself. I step into this version of me that is so hidden behind so many different layers of walls, so many different walls. It's like the walls of my being come down when the storm or when the environment becomes storm-like, and I'm free. It's freeing. When everyone else is running away, I'm running towards, and it's my superpower. My ADHD turns from this debilitating thing into this superpower, and that's it's environmental.
Yes, this question here.
That trip you did through the outback just looked so hard. Oh my god. Was it easier on your own, or was it easier when you had those 3 different people join the trip? Did it make the trip easy, or did it make it more difficult having those people accompanying you on that journey?
So the question was, just so that I answer it properly, was it easier to be on my own?
Yeah.
Or was it easier to have other people with me? I think not just on that journey, but in all aspects of my own life, maybe our lives, it's always easier on your own in here, internally. It's easier to be of your own liking when you're alone than it is when you're trying to conform to someone else's like expectations or understanding of like life and how they present themselves. But like Australia specifically, it was so much easier on my own because I knew what I was doing. Like when someone else came out there with me, they were a liability. They were a risk. I was way more likely to run out of water. Now there's 2 bikes that I have to manage because they don't know how to change a tyre. It's definitely all the journeys are easier alone, but way more fulfilling with others. So people are good, It's nice to share journeys with other people. It's nice to share life with other people.
Are you enjoying your time teaching your child Atlas all your trips, and are you taking him on outlandish trips?
Am I enjoying teaching my son Atlas life, and am I taking him on big trips? He's 3 now, and I have a second son. His name is Milo. He's 7 months old. Yes, we go on. I guess you'd call them like adventures. Like we actually just went quite recently, just him and I, on a road trip from the Coromandel to Wanaka, where we're now based for the winter. And it was just us 2, and like we were in the car, so it wasn't cycling across the country or anything, but that was a really nice time that I got to spend with him. And I think overall, out of all the expeditions and all the experiences that I've had throughout life, is becoming a father has been the most profound, most enriching, hardest, by far the hardest. But it's just like some of the lessons that I searched for 10 years across countries, around islands, I learned in the first year of being a father. And like it's like the greatest chapter of my life to this point, and it's I want lots of that. So it's only going to get better. But in the future, big journeys are definitely on the cards. Like as soon as they're old enough to want to come, then they'll come. But if they don't want to come, then they don't have to.
I know how hard it was to have biked across the desert. We've just driven across it about 5-6 years ago, so I know how hard that was in the sand.
Yeah.
And the flies.
All the flies. Facial massage.
And Nathan, question.
Yeah, just the sheer creativity of your adventure ideas, just so mind-blowing to me. And from one utter extreme to the absolute other, incredible beauty. What is inspiring these ideas? Where are they coming from? Is this something that's cerebral, or is it coming from within? How's that playing out with you?
Where do my ideas come from for the adventures? I have never thought about that, ever. Wow. The idea to walk the coastline in New Zealand was kind of born. I had like the messiest breakup of my whole life. Literally my whole life was shattered. My parents have been together forever. They're like, the perfect Disney story couple, and that was my perception of like what life was meant to be like. You meet someone, and that's the person you're going to be with for the rest of your life. So I met this girl at 16, and she was going to be the rest of my life, which didn't turn out like that. She cheated on me, and it just tore my whole concept of reality apart. So I was pretty down. That's really a big contributing factor to why I turned to drugs and started to try and piece my life back together. But I met this guy called Paul, and he was 30. I was like maybe 16, maybe even 15. We lived in the same block of apartments, and we used to just go and get high together, and he taught me how to surf on a lake. By that, I mean he taught me how to paddle on a surfboard on a lake, and after 3 months he left, and I went to Australia to go live with him for 2 weeks, and he taught me to surf in the ocean, and he came up with this great plan of walking around New Zealand with surfboards, and surfing all the spots. So that happened, and then he had a baby, and life happened, and everything else got in the way, and it just disappeared. 5 years later, I remembered, I was in a pretty dark place still. I remembered this thing, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great to walk around New Zealand? And so I guess I made it happen. The idea was born, and it just like simmered away, and off I went. And every one of the other journeys was kind of similar in the duration of time. So while I was walking around New Zealand, Stewart Island was just naturally that forgotten little piece that I didn't get to. Greenland was like an opportunity that was presented to me by the Antarctic Heritage Trust. So they came to me and they said, hey, we've got this thing, do you want to be a part of it? While I was there, I really wanted to share a journey with someone else, and on the plane I met this Inuit woman who'd been living in Vancouver Island. I was like, what a great place to go. So we went there, and Australia was always like the Mount Everest of my expeditions, like the hardest thing. Mount Everest wouldn't be the hardest, but the crux of my life. It was going to be the hardest thing that I went out there and tried to do. So Australia was meant to come straight after New Zealand in my mind, but it took almost 10 years to actually make it happen. Creatively, I think I just go, I just think I like have an idea and I run with it, and if I do run with it, it's kind of, sorry, I'm getting a bit carried away here, it's kind of quite dangerous for someone as ADHD in the sense of having an idea and having to, like, speaking from my own experience, having to really hold myself back from these things, because I know that if I start something that I'm passionate about, nothing can pull me out of that. Like, my kids will disappear, my wife will disappear, my whole life just goes on standby while I go to achieve this goal, and nothing will stop me. Like, that is just how my brain works. So I do have to be careful that I don't go and step into some world that I get wrapped up in. A little bit of a tangent there, but I do have to be careful.
Great answers. At the back, the young boy at the back.
Any crazy close encounters walking around New Zealand? I had a shotgun pointed at me on the back of someone's farm once. That was probably, like I've fallen off cliffs, I broke ribs when I was walking around the coast of New Zealand. I got dragged along the beach out here on the Wellington coast by a pig with my knife stuck in it. There's so many near misses. Too many to count. But
Vancouver Island.
Like nearly getting eaten by a grizzly bear. There's a lot of times in my life where things have not gone to plan, but somehow I have made it out the other side.
Yes, Susan.
What was the handle attached to?
Which handle?
The handle that you are holding on to for quite a number of the...
Oh, my selfie pole. So on the end of that was a GoPro camera, which I had about 5 or 6 different GoPros throughout the duration of the trip, and that was just a way to be able to capture things. They have 360 cameras now, which I think there was 1 or 2 shots in there, and that's just a camera with a lens on both sides, so it captures the whole room and you can't see the pole. But yeah.
Just a supplementary. We didn't hear about your mother. We heard and saw your father. Your mother, you said, was artistic or is artistic. Did she have any hand in this movie?
Not so much the movie. She's like a wonderful, wonderful mother. Like the greatest mother I could ask for. She definitely doesn't like the light. Like, she doesn't like to be. She's a quiet person, but she has helped me write children's books. So she's illustrated a children's book, and we're currently illustrating another one at the moment. So she's definitely contributed to my life and my world, both by birthing me and mothering me, and now as we work together to create things. Yeah, my mum's around and she's great.
I think you've taught us a few lessons today as well on life, and a few things to go away and think about and work better on. And as far as I'd be concerned, if ever there's a war, I'd love you to be on my side.
I think it's fantastic.
You came and talked at my school to a bunch of school kids, and not long ago some of us teachers got together and we were talking about you, and I've used your book in the classroom with kids to inspire them. I've read it to my grandchildren now, they've got a copy at home, and I just want you to carry on being your authentic, amazing self, because you are inspiration.
And I know that you can talk forever. There's plenty of questions to go. I am going to get two more and then we will finish up because we do have more screenings. But we can go out into the foyer as well and continue this conversation. The lady here, yes.
Thanks. Some people with ADHD have difficulty organising themselves and their brain, and yet the planning that's gone into your trips is extremely, water supplies and everything. So how do you resolve that?
Planning. There was not much planning involved in any of them. It looks as though there was, but really the planning that I do for any expedition that I go on is I plan for the worst. So I carry all the gear that I need for if something was to go wrong, and all the gear that I need to keep myself alive until either I can rescue myself or get rescued. So in terms of water, there was one point where I was carrying roughly 48 kilos, like 48 litres of water across that desert section. There was nothing else in my bags except for like a sleeping bag, a tent and water. The opportunities in that Australia trip where I didn't have my trailer or I might have had a bag down, I would literally just meet someone on the side of the road and ask them to, I would trust them with my gear. Can you drop it 200 kilometers up the road, where you're going? Because there's nothing else that way for 200 kilometers except for this place. The Greenland expedition, I call it my holiday expedition because there was someone else involved in all of the planning. I didn't have to call any sponsors, I didn't have to organize weather, gear. I just showed up and pulled a sled. It was so great. But yeah, planning happens on the go. It's an adventure. The plan is to go from point A to point B, carry all the gear that I need, and get there by any means necessary.
And whatever happens in between happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Just one last question out here.
G'day, Brandon. I've been thrilled to know you for near on 10 years. And when I met you, which was just a year after you finishing the circumnavigation, I got you and Nio to be the front cover of my magazine for Go Natural New Zealand. And you explain your story, but one story I do remember you telling me, and I hope I've got it right, and you might better elaborate now, is that there was a moment in your very early past where you were having all this horrible interaction with the law and you saw your photo in the police station. Is that right?
Yeah.
You might want to... And that was, to me, really was a turning point, if I recall you telling me, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I better share the story. I'll keep it short.
Okay.
So, before my journey around New Zealand, I was up to all sorts of mischief. Anything that gave me any kind of dopamine, I was in. But there was this cafe about 10 doors down from where I lived, and they used to leave their big commercial fridge unlocked, and I would just go in and take a few bits of bacon here and there, and nothing it was serious. It wasn't serious, but it was. I was still a thief. But one day there was a 10-kilo bag of bacon, and so I took this 10-kilo bag of bacon, and about 2 weeks later, someone had broken into my car. Karma, I know, but I went to the police station to report it. And while I was standing there in the line waiting, that show Police 10-7, have you seen this person? There's this big poster up above the counter with the police that are checking people, and it's me. I can see myself. And you couldn't tell it was me, but it was my clothes and it was my mask that I was wearing. And that was indeed a big moment where I was like, all right, I'm pretty close to the edge here. I'm very close to being caught. I better go and do something to change my life.
And you did. And you're changing many lives. I think that's what we're seeing here and hearing. So thank you so much for putting this out there. But also, we look forward to seeing everything in the future. More books, more adventures as well. Do feel free to join us in the foyer to continue the conversation. And thank you again so much.
Thank you very much.